Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you 4 tips for success when you're transplanting or potting up your indoor seedlings into larger containers. Now here we are almost to April, and normally here in Southern California it's warm enough to plant my peppers, tomatoes, and warm weather veggies outdoors. But as a lot of you know, we've had a ton of rain. My garden beds are super soggy, so I'm going to be transplanting or putting these little peppers into larger containers to buy me some time until my garden beds are ready and dry out just a little bit. I've had a lot of questions lately about when to transplant your indoor seedlings, or it's also called up potting. That refers to the process when you take them out of their current smaller container and put them in a size up container so the roots have more room to grow and breathe. The plant can grow stronger and healthier before it's time to get them planted out in the garden. The first tip for success when transplanting your indoor seedlings is the timing is everything. And you can look for 2 clues that will help you know if the timing is right. These are pepper plants. They've been growing in these little 6-packs for about 8 weeks. The first thing you want to look for are the leaves. When it's ready to transplant, it will have about 3 to 4 sets of true leaves. Look at how beautiful and green these leaves look. And we've got 1 set at the bottom, another set right here, and a 3rd set on top, and there's a 4th and 5th set growing out from the middle. So that's 1 clue that they're definitely ready to up pot into a larger container. Now the second clue you want to look for are the roots. So take a look at the bottom of your growing containers. If you're starting to see roots coming out the bottom, that's a sign that they're starting to outgrow the small little 6-packs. Here we've got a couple little roots coming out here. What really is my true clue is right here where the 6-pack is starting to split. I can see a ton of roots that are just starting to circle around. So you definitely want to get it before the roots start to circle, because once that happens, it can become root bound and the plant will become stunted. The second tip is to give your plants room to breathe. You want to put them in at least a 25% to 50% larger container so the roots have room to spread out. You want your container to have plenty of drainage. I'm going to transplant mine into this 1-gallon CaliKim Smart Pots. The fabric is aerated, which allows great space for root growth and great drainage so your plants don't get waterlogged. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull out my California Wonder Pepper, this is from the Spring Garden Seed Collection, out of its little 6-pack seed cell. And I just like to use a little spoon to lift it out gently. And since this one has such good roots, the soil is holding together really well. I mean, look at those roots. You can again see here where they're just starting to circle around. You want to catch them before they get to that situation. So when they circle around, they'll get stunted. Now you can see here I have 2 little pepper seedlings in my little seed cell. No big deal. Peppers actually like to grow pretty closely together. So I'm just going to kind of make a little hole here in my 1 gallon and just set it in there. Super easy to do this. I've got pre-moistened seed starting mix already in here. You can use a bagged potting mix. This is actually reused potting mix. I'm going to add some fresh new potting mix to my 1 gallon here. I've got all kinds of recipes for DIY potting mix, DIY seed starting mix. So I'll put a link for those in the video description. So basically I'm just backfilling here, bringing it up to about soil level. Peppers you can plant just a little bit deeper, but for the most part, I'm just keeping it at soil level of the transplant, kind of tamping it down here so the roots don't have any big air pockets. You want them to have good contact with the soil so the roots can really take off and grow. And then you'll have a really nice, strong, healthy seedling to pop out in the garden when the time is right. Ideally, you want to have your seedlings hardened off before you transplant them into larger containers so your indoor garden area doesn't get overrun. Now, these are what I call kind of partially hardened off. So they're outside during the day, except when it's raining really hard. And then our nights have still been in the 30s and low 40s, so I'll move them inside at night. So we're kind of doing the inside-outside dance until the weather warms up. So always keep an eye on your weather to make sure your seedlings don't die on those cold nights. Now, you guys know what's next, right? Go ahead and put that tag in. California Wonder Peppers, transplanted on the date on the back. Transplanting tip number 3 is, if you can, transplant on a cloudy day. If it's not a cloudy day, transplant in the shade. Your plants can often undergo what's called transplant shock, where they can wilt and it will really stress them out. So if you can keep it in the shade or do it on a cloudy day, your plants are going to be that much better for it and you'll have much more success with your transplanting process. I'm going to show you now how to transplant a tomato, because there's a special little something about tomatoes that you want to know when you're transplanting. These are one of my favorite tomatoes, the Golden Jubilee tomatoes from the Spring Garden Seed Collection. You will absolutely love these tomatoes. A beautiful orange slicing tomato, so sweet, so delicious. You're going to absolutely love them. Now, remember the clues? First, we look at the leaves. We've got lots of leaves here. It's about maybe 6 inches or so tall, and that's looking really good. Now we're going to take a look at the roots. Pull this out. These tomato seedlings I think are about 8 weeks old as well. Nice roots here, not starting to get root bound yet, which means it's a perfect time to transplant. So we're going to pop this into my little 1 gallon CaliKim Smart Pots. But tomatoes you want to plant as deeply as you can in the pot, because wherever the stem touches the soil, these tiny little hairs here will send out roots, which means that this plant is going to be nice and sturdy. By the time you get it out in the garden, it will have a lot more roots and really hold up to the elements really well. So I'm planting it all the way in the bottom of the pot, and then I'm just going to backfill it all the way to the top with soil. It's okay if you've got some leaves on the bottom that you cover up with the soil, no big deal. You can pinch them off if you want. And I want to encourage you just to try different things with your transplants, try different pots, find what you like, find what works for you for the space that you have. You're always learning as you go and experimenting as you go. It's really the best way to learn. So we're filling the soil all the way up to the top. I am going to go ahead and push it down so we don't have any air pockets. You can see one of my little branches broke off as I was transplanting, which is no big deal. Tomatoes are super resilient, and before you know it, you're going to have more tomato leaves growing, especially growing here in the Smart Pots with lots of aeration. One little tip on tomato seedlings that will help you get more tomatoes out of your 6-packs is, you can see here I've got 2 little seedlings that have germinated in the same seed cell. No need to clip off one and save the other. What you can do is separate these seedlings. Second seedling is definitely much, much smaller, but you can give it a little bit more space. Tomatoes are super, super resilient, so you can just break apart the little 6-pack seed cell. Their roots are really, really tough, so don't be afraid to really break them apart. And then you can plant this extra seedling. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and pop it right here in my 1 gallon, because this one's a little bit smaller. So it will have the space here in this 1 gallon. Get it as far down in the soil as I can. Then since this one's a little bit bigger, I could plant it in another 1 gallon or transplant it in another 1 gallon to grow bigger until it's time to get out in the garden. Got my label in. There's a lot of warm weather vegetables that take to transplanting very well, like your tomatoes, your peppers, your eggplant. But some of them don't like their roots disturbed. It's a little bit trickier to transplant them, such as cucumbers, melons, squash. Now, when I'm first starting cucumbers and melons from seed, I like to plant them in these little cow pots, because the cow pots you can plant directly in your garden beds, or you can transplant them right in your 1 gallon containers without disturbing the roots. They biodegrade and dissolve very, very easily. Now, when you purchase one of my Grow Your Groceries with CaliKim subscription box, it comes with 4 cow pots, along with lots of seeds and other fun goodies. And the April box actually goes on sale on Friday, March 24th. But this, I have a lemon cucumber in the cow pot, and all I have to do for this, so I don't disturb the roots, is just place it right in my 1 gallon CaliKim Smart Pots. The roots will come through, the plant will continue to take up the water and the nutrients it needs, and the roots will have plenty of room to breathe and grow into a stronger plant. And then all I have to do is backfill it here with my fresh seed starting mix or my fresh potting soil. And the cow pot will dissolve over time. These are actually designed to last for about 12 weeks during the seed starting process, and then they start to break down and dissolve into your soil. The cool thing about them is they're made from cow manure, but they don't smell and they're just super, super handy little growing containers. So I'm just popping some soil in here on the sides till the 1 gallon pot is filled all the way up. And my cucumber is up potted and will continue to grow into a nice, strong, healthy plant. Tip number 4 for success is feed when you transplant. Very important because you want to take your plants to the next level of growth, the next level of root development, so they're super strong and super healthy plants and very productive for you this summer. So I'm going to feed with a couple of different things. The Vermistera Vitality, which I love because it's so good for the root growth. So I'm going to pop in a few squirts into my watering can here. And then I also want to see some really nice green leafy growth on my plants so they grow stronger and bigger. So I've got the Good Dirt plant food here, a couple of squirts into the watering can. And by the way, when you purchase my April subscription box, you get a free 8-ounce bottle of Vermistera Vitality as a little bonus with the box, just to say thank you from myself and from Vermistera for gardening with us. Now, little tip for the watering. You want to bottom water your transplants, and that way the water will soak up from the bottom and it will encourage the roots to seek the water and grow deeper towards the water. The more roots, the stronger the plant, the more veggies you're going to be able to grow. So let your little 1 gallon container soak up the water, and then once it's been sitting for about 10 minutes or so, you want to pour the water off and use it for another plant. If you forget all these steps or you prefer to have everything written down, no worries. I do have it all written down for you in my book, Organic Gardening for Everyone. What we covered today is in chapter 4. And if you haven't yet got started with your spring garden, grab one of my spring garden seed collections along with Organic Gardening for Everyone. You can get it right now over at CaliKimGardenandHome.com for 25% off all seed collections, books, and CaliKim Smart Pots with the code ThinkSpring. And do make sure you check back at CaliKimGardenandHome.com on Friday, March 24th. That's when our April Grow Your Groceries with CaliKim subscription box goes on sale, and there are very limited supply for the April box. If you sign up for my newsletter there, you'll also get $5 off. Comment below, let me know where you're at in your seedling process. You're starting to transplant your indoor seedlings, or if you're already planting outside in the garden. I look forward to reading your comments. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.